Be with us this afternoon. You join us, of course, as breaking news once more erupts in South Africa. Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula is the new Speaker of the National Assembly. You saw the voting taking place in a new format because of COVID-19. Well, our Politics Editor Sbu Ngalwa, part of our team at Parliament now for you. Sbu, good afternoon to you. At this stage, do we know what the voting breakdown was? What I'm really asking is, do we know if every ANC MP voted the way they were supposed to?
Yes, Stephen, I've just done my basic arithmetic here, and it tells me that from the figures that had been given by the ANC Chief Whip, Pemima Jodina, in the morning, she said 201 of her members were here, and now we know that 199 votes were for Mapisa-Nqakula. As to where the other two went, I'm sure we'll probably find out. Maybe they were not in the chamber at that time, but the reality is this shows you that out of the 312 that was confirmed to me by the spokesperson of Parliament, Moloto Mutapo, he said 312 members of the National Assembly were here today, and that's 312 out of 400, making it 78%, Stephen. So as expected, the ANC there, as you can see, 199 votes voting as a block, because I assume, although it was a secret ballot, that those majority of those votes came from the governing party there, Stephen. And obviously there will be a lot that will be said about this outcome, but I can't say that it was unexpected. And just to get immediate reaction, I must, Stephen, introduce my guest here, who is the Chief Whip of the IFP, Mr. Naren Singh. Mr. Singh, your initial reaction?
Well, as you say, the ANC have closed ranks, and they voted almost as a bloc. As you know, we are on record as saying that we would not support the person that was nominated. However, the election having been conducted, we will respect the result and respect the office of the Speaker and give her the fullest support that she would require, in the hope that she would reciprocate with the kind of support that she said she will give all parties when she gave her introductory speech. And
that's exactly what she said. She extended a hand to the opposition, to everyone in Parliament, saying she will work with everyone in Parliament. Do you take that as a sincere message, or are you just reading it as you politicians do sometimes?
Well, time will tell. Time will tell. We've heard this one before from other speakers, but I must say that the last speaker did cooperate with all of us on a very impartial basis, and we just hope that the current speaker would have learned from the last speaker, and that she will follow in the same trajectory, and that we can all work as political parties in the interest of not only Parliament, but in the interest of the millions of South Africans out there who really need us to assist them in many ways, eradicating poverty, unemployment and inequality.
Lastly, Mr. Singh, of course, as a party, you may not be happy with that outcome, but I guess something has to be said about the fact that in a democratic South Africa, we're having the 5th female Speaker of Parliament. What would you say?
Well, I think it's excellent. It's very good news, and it's August, it's Women's Month, and it gives credence to the fact that as South Africans we respect women in our society, and they can be elected to any high position that they deserve.
Right. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Naren Singh, who is the Chief Whip of the Inkatha Freedom Party. And now we speak to the sole MP of the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania. I'm sure this is his first interview on Newzroom Afrika, Mr. Bennett Joko. What is your reaction to the election of the Speaker here, the person of the Speaker, but also what it means for Parliament as an institution?
Look, it was going to be expected. The ANC has got the majority in the House. They were going to elect whoever they had put in as a candidate. That one aside, what is more important is what will happen from now going forward. The House must do its work, which is it must engage in the transformation of the society. We still have a situation of 20 million people who still go to bed without food. That's the job of Parliament.
Now, obviously, you have the sole vote here of the PAC, although it makes no difference so far as the outcome is concerned. But if I may just ask, who did you vote for? How did you vote this afternoon?
It was a secret ballot. You wouldn't know who I voted or not voted. That's the purpose of a secret ballot. But it's a democratic process. People have voted, and they voted for their candidate, a candidate of their choice. That's what democracy is all about.
And the new speaker has obviously spoken in magnanimous terms, extending a hand to the opposition, saying that she will work with everyone. Now, in comparison with the previous speaker, what would your expectations be of her?
I wasn't here. I wouldn't know how the previous speaker handled issues. But it's a good move. It's a good move that she has extended the hand to all parties here, not the narrow sectional political interests of her own party. It's a good move. It's a good statement.
All right, thank you very much. That is Bernard Jogo, the new MP of the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, the PAC. Now we are joined by Mr. Peter Groenewald, who is the leader of the Freedom Front Plus. Mr. Groenewald, I'm sure the outcome was not expected, but you had the speaker there extending a hand to yourself and to the rest of the opposition there. How do you anticipate your relationship will be with her going forward?
Well, firstly, I want to say it was expected. It's no surprise to us. Because, and I want to say again, if you look at the result, 199 for her and then 82 for the other candidate. But what is important is actually the 17 spoiled votes. I spoke to the leaders of the other opposition parties before the election, and they all said that, okay, we will support the DA's candidates. So there's a good chance that those 17 votes are actually from the ANC that emphasize the factionalism within the ANC. In fact,
but I would argue, though, Mr. Groenewald, that for now we don't know where they came from. But if you are considering the fact that 199 voted for her and the ANC had about 201 members, that does tell you that pretty much the ANC voted as a bloc, as expected.
Well, of course, but I say that. But I say again, not all of them voted really for a bloc. Of course, we knew that she's going to get the majority. But I want to say that when she was nominated, then the Judge President asked her whether she accepts the nomination, the Minister for Police, that sits not very far from me, said in quite loud and clear that she had no choice. So that says everything. I didn't hear anything about impartiality. She extended a hand to the opposition, saying that we must protect the integrity of the House. Of course, the Freedom Front Plus will ensure and try our best to ensure that we protect the integrity of the House. But her position in itself is a problem because she misused her position when she was Minister for Defence to favour the ANC by taking their Executive Council members to Zimbabwe and a military plane. Therefore, she already violated the integrity when it comes to the Speaker of the House.
Sure. Mr. Peter Groenewald is the leader of the Freedom Front Plus, raising some of the issues that are still sticking out insofar as the new Speaker of Parliament is concerned, Stephen. And now we're moving on swiftly to the Chief Whip of the opposition here, Natasha Matsoni. Natasha, you nominated your own member, and the outcome is one can say it was unexpected.
Well, one can't say it was unexpected, no. It just goes to show that the ANC only cares about one thing, and that is the ANC. The cadre deployment policy of the ANC stronger than ever, rewarding someone who almost resulted, her inactions almost resulted in a full-blown coup in our country taking place, and I think we need to call it what it is. We talk about the insurrection, but we need to start calling it a failed coup. We know that this is a woman who has allegations of human trafficking, of a Burundian woman who was in a relationship with her son, the Jetgate scandal of letting ministers just tag along on a Zimbabwean trip, a woman who's going to face a hearing and a disciplinary inquiry in this very house that she is supposed to lead. So nothing more than a failed ANC cadre simply being rewarded with a very, very important and high post. And I think this should send a very strong message to people like Judge Zondo to show that the ANC is not changing. It is not taking accountability seriously. And if I feel sorry for anyone today, I actually feel sorry for President Jacob Zuma, because his name got mentioned mentioned today by one of the people who
She was thanking him.
She was thanking him, thereby, simply implying exactly what we knew, the involvement in state capture.
But why would you feel sorry for him?
Well, I feel sorry for him because if someone like that, who was so involved in so many scandals, is thanking him, she's thanking him for giving a helping hand in being able to do what she did. Never mind that. Imagine President Cyril Ramaphosa. It's proved today that he has absolutely no power within his own party, and he can't even stop a minister who himself had to get rid of because she couldn't do her job from being elected Speaker in the House.
But someone might well argue that this is another, as you said earlier, it's just a case of the ANC assigning or deploying their cadres as they see fit. We don't know for effective President Ramaphosa was part of that or not. But my question for you, though, she has extended a hand to the opposition. Will you cooperate with her, given your misgivings about her and some of the investigations that are still outstanding, including the very investigation that is being done by Parliament?
Me and my party swore an oath to the Constitution. And we hold ourselves accountable to the Constitution, to no single person. We hold the decorum of the House as being paramountly important. We have no intention to be disruptive because that is not our way. We want the work of South Africa to be done. There is a failed Speaker that we now have to deal with, which means our work is going to be doubled in holding Parliament to account and holding the Executive to account. So I can assure you that the DA will be doing double the amount of work than we've ever done before to ensure that we protect our democracy, because we have a Speaker that we know does not believe in the democracy we all hope to see.
And importantly, though, coming back to these very chambers, the investigation that is being done by the Standing Committee on Defence, how do you think, as the DA, how do you suggest Parliament proceeds with that investigation, given that the executive authority of Parliament rests with the Speaker in this investigation is into her conduct and her person?
Well, in the first place, she should have never been recommended as Speaker. That in itself shows the ludicrousy of the situation. They should immediately suspend her pending the outcome of the investigation. The acting Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, will have to carry on as acting Speaker, and I have no doubt that once the conclusion of the investigation is done, she will have to step down as Speaker in any event. So today's whole election might be for null and void in any event.
Natasha Mazoni, last question. Fifth woman as Speaker of a democratic National Assembly of South Africa. So surely something must be said about that. She mentioned it herself.
She did mention it herself, but as a woman, I'm certainly not proud of the job that she's done in the past in the executive arm. I'm not proud that she is our Speaker, and I think that if the only thing that she can fall back on is on her gender, it's an embarrassment to women. So not something that I'm particularly proud of as a woman myself.
All right. Strong words there from the Chief Whip of the opposition, the Democratic Alliance, Natasha Mazoni, there saying that she believes that the new Speaker of Parliament should be suspended pending the outcome of that very investigation by the Standing Committee on Defence. Now, Stephen, this investigation that she's talking about relates to a complaint that was raised by the United Democratic Movement, UDM leader Bantu Holomisa, where he makes allegations to the effect that the new Speaker, Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula, accepted gratification from a contractor, a businessman, who is a contractor to the Department of Defense. Now, this is the very department where she was minister until she was, for a lack of a better word, fired by the president. And she's saying that she was paid 5 million, and now that is a matter that is being investigated by Parliament. And that is also the sticking point here, Stephen. That is the nub of the issue of the opposition, rather, by opposition parties, why they are so against her candidature, besides what they feel is her failure as a minister. There are also those allegations that are hanging over their head. And again, I guess it goes back to the very issues that were ventilated at the State Capture Commission, where Parliament was asked questions about the seriousness of the institution in terms of carrying out its mandate, which is to hold the executive to account, but also to dispose itself as a constitutional arm of the state which carries out its mandate without fear or favor. Will Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula be the person to take Parliament forward? The opposition doesn't seem to think so. And also you will remember and recall, Stephen, that just a few, with the recent speaker, Thandi Modise, she actually had a very good rapport with the opposition party. She was well received by the opposition party, and I guess for the integrity of the House, her personality and how she managed this institution was seen as a unifying figure, regardless of the party political head that she was, because that's exactly the point, that the speaker is supposed to be seen to be above party political dictates. And that, Stephen, will probably be what you have seen here today, the opposition by all the parties, including the boycott by the EFF and UDM. Perhaps that is indicative of the kind of relationship that we're going to see between the Speaker of Parliament and opposition party, perhaps harking back to those days of EFF and the former Speaker Baleka Mbete. Is that what we're likely to see? It remains to be seen, Stephen. But I would say that the stage has been set.
Sbu Ngalwa, it certainly looks like it. Thank you very much indeed.